You ever notice how everybody's got something to say, but nothing real to talk about? Every week, they out here jumping in front of cameras, posting clips, doing interviews. But when you listen, it's the same recycled lines, the same fake smiles, the same stories they told last year. They keep talking, 'cause they scared of what happens when it gets quiet. They scared of their own thoughts. See me, I've been quiet for a reason. I don't move just to move. I don't talk just to talk. When I go silent, I'm not disappearing. I'm reloading. I'm letting the noise die down so my words cut deeper when I finally let him out. You don't feed people every day if you want them to feel the weight of the feast. You starve him a little, so when you come back, they hang on every bite. 2 years I ain't sat down for nobody's questions. Not because I didn't have answers, but because I was too busy living them. While they've been watching me from the outside, guessing, imagining, talking behind closed doors, I've been watching myself transform. And trust me, the version of me that's about to speak now, it's not the same man that walked away 2 years ago. So sit back, because I'm about to let you in, but understand something. This ain't just an interview. This is me giving you the truth raw, with no sugar, no filter, no fear. You know why I stepped back for 2 years? Because I had to get real about who was in my circle, who was in my business, and who was in my way. When you're always out in the open, always talking, always giving people a piece of you, you don't even realize how much of yourself you're handing away. You start thinking you're just sharing that, but what you're really doing is leaking. And people will drink from you until there's nothing left but dust if you let them. I had to shut it down, not because I was finished, but because I wasn't about to let the wrong people eat off my energy anymore. When you got something they can't get on their own, they cling to you. They act like they love you. It's not you they love, it's the access, it's the benefits, it's the way your light makes them feel like they matter. But when the light's off, when there's no stage, no cameras, no attention, a lot of them vanish. And the ones that stay, those are the ones you keep. I used to think being everywhere was how you stayed relevant. Then I learned not. That's how you get drained. The people who really matter don't need to see you every week. They don't need a reminder to respect you. It's the ones that only value you when you're visible that you gotta watch. They'll try to convince you you're slipping just because they can't see you. But when you know your worth, that you don't need validation every 5 minutes. 2 years out the spotlight taught me more about myself than any interview could. I found out how much of my time was being spent reacting instead of building. That I was letting other people's agendas pull me around like a puppet. Somebody asked for a quick word here, a favor there, and before you know it, you've given away your focus. You're doing 100 things, but none of them are yours. I got ruthless with my time. If it didn't build me, protect me, or grow me, it got cut. Period. And you'd be surprised how quiet life gets when you stop letting everybody have a seat at your table. The noise drops, the pressure changes, and suddenly you start hearing your own thoughts again. You start remembering what you really wanted before everybody else told you what you should want. And let me tell you something, when you get that clarity, when you really see how much of your life was being lived for other people, it makes you dangerous. Not in the sense of hurting anybody, but dangerous because you can't be manipulated anymore. You stop falling for flattery. You stop chasing approval. You start moving for you, not for the applause. People don't like that. They're used to you being available. They're used to you being predictable. So when you switch up, they get uncomfortable. They'll call you distant. They'll say you changed. They'll try to guilt you into going back to being who they like better. But you can't let that pull you back. Because the truth is, they didn't like you for you. that they liked you for what they could get from you. Every time I thought about coming back before I was ready, I remembered that. I remembered the nights I was drained, the mornings I was on autopilot, the fake smiles I gave in rooms I didn't even want to be in. I remembered how much I was pretending just to keep everybody else happy. And I told myself, never again. I don't care if it takes months, years, whatever. It's to return strong than to show up weak just so people don't forget you. While I was gone, I wasn't just hiding. I was building, quietly stacking wins, sharpening my mind, strengthening my circle. Every move I made was intentional. No wasted words, no wasted energy. I started looking at life like chess, not checkers. Stop reacting to what's right in front of you. Start thinking 10 moves ahead. And when you move like that, you stop getting played. It's crazy how when you disappear, some people assume you fell off. That's fine, let them think that. A sleeping lion still has claws. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is let people underestimate you. That way, when you move, they don't see it coming. And when it hits, it's too late for them to stop it. That's why I wasn't in no rush to talk. Because when I finally speak, I want every word to mean something. I want it to carry the weight of the silence it came from. I don't care about filling space. I care about making impact. And I can't do that if I'm always talking. You got to let the world miss you a little. You come back, they actually listen. So, 2 years might feel like forever to some of y'all. But for me, it was exactly what I needed. It wasn't a break, it was a reset. And now, I'm not just back. I'm sharper, I'm stronger. And I'm moving with purpose. I know exactly where I'm going, and I'm not letting anybody pull me off that track ever again. When you value yourself enough to step back and protect your space, you stop chasing moments and you start creating history. And that's exactly what I'm here to do. When I stepped away, people thought I was just taking time off. Nah, I was taking inventory. See, there's a big difference between being surrounded and being supported. A lot of people got a crowd, but that don't mean they got a team. I had to really sit back and look at everybody around me, not just what they were saying, but how they were moving. Words are cheap, patterns don't lie. You learn real quick that some people are only there when it's easy. That when everything's lit, when there's opportunity in the air, when there's benefits just for being next to you, they show up. But let life get quiet. Let the cameras stop clicking. Let there be no favors to hand out, and you'll see the truth. Some disappear so fast it's like they were never there. And the ones that stay, you realize those are rare. That's why I stopped measuring loyalty by who smiles the biggest in my face. I measure it by who's still there when there's nothing to smile about. And let me tell you something. Loyalty ain't about agreement. It's not about someone nodding at everything you say. That it's about somebody holding you down even when they don't understand all your moves. The ones who trust your vision without needing the blueprint, those are the ones worth building with. The rest, dead weight. That, and the longer you carry dead weight, the slower you move. It took stepping away for me to see the difference between an ally and an anchor. Some people weren't holding me up, they were holding me down. And the crazy part is they weren't even doing it on purpose. They just didn't have the capacity to move at the speed I was moving. They couldn't keep up, so instead of admitting it, they'd try to slow me down to match their pace. That's dangerous, because if you're not careful, that you'll start shrinking your dreams to fit their comfort zone. Once you do that, you're done. So I started testing people without saying a word. I'd fall back and see who reached out without wanting something. I'd go silent and see who still checked in, not for the gossip, not for the access, but because they actually cared. And you'd be shocked how short that list got. It's humbling, but it's also freeing. Because when you know who's real, You stop wasting energy on the ones who ain't. I used to think cutting people off was cold. Now I see it as survival. You can't carry everybody where you're going. Some people's season in your life has an expiration date, and the longer you hold on past that, the more it costs you. Every minute you give to the wrong person is a minute stolen from the right one. And when you start valuing your time like that, your whole approach changes. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I became some hermit who never talks to anyone. I'm saying I became intentional. I started surrounding myself with people who add to my energy, not drain it. People who challenge me to be sharper, think bigger, move smarter. And here's the thing, when you tighten your circle, your life starts to move cleaner. Fewer distractions, fewer betrayals, fewer fake smiles. You stop guessing people's motives because the ones around you have already proven themselves. That's the beauty of pulling back. You get to watch people's true colors come out without the pressure of your presence. Some of the ones you thought were solid will crumble the minute you're not feeding them attention. That others you barely noticed before will step up in ways you never expected. That's how you find the ones worth building empires with. They don't need the spotlight to show up. See, a lot of people think loyalty is built in the good times. It's not. Loyalty is built in the drought. When there's nothing to gain, when it's just trust and belief holding you together, that's when you find out who's who. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start moving different. You start protecting your space like your life depends on it, because it does. I've been in enough rooms to know that access is currency. Some people keep you close just so they can use your name, your connections, and your influence as their own. And the dangerous part is they'll disguise it as friendship. But when you pull that access away, watch how fast the vibe changes. It's not anger, it's withdrawal. They're not mad you left, they're mad the benefits left with you. 2 years of silence gave me the space to detox from all that. I stopped mistaking proximity for partnership. I stopped thinking history equals loyalty. Just because you know someone for years doesn't mean they're meant to be in your future. Time served don't make you solid, actions do. And once you start living by that, your whole network shifts. The truth is, we all want to believe the people around us are down for us. But belief without proof is just hope. And hope without action is just waiting to get hurt. That's why I stopped assuming and started observing. I don't listen to what people tell me about their loyalty. I watch what they do when it's tested. The best part of this whole process. When you filter out the noise, the people who remain push you higher. They're not intimidated by your grind, they match it. Threatened by your wins, they celebrate them. They're not waiting for you to fall so they can take your spot. They're helping you make the spot bigger so you can both win. And once you got a circle like that, you don't need a crowd. You don't need constant reassurance. You can disappear for months, even years, and come back stronger because you know the people who matter are still there. That's a power most people will never experience because they're too scared to let go of the wrong ones to make room for the right ones. Me. I'm not scared of losing people anymore. If me protecting my peace makes you walk away, you were never here for me in the first place. And if I got to choose between keeping someone happy or keeping my focus, I'm choosing my focus every single time. Because at the end of the day, the people who are truly for you don't need you to burn yourself out to prove it. That's the lesson 2 years taught me. Your circle is your armor, but only if it's built right, if it's full of holes. That you're not protected, you're exposed. And I refuse to be exposed again. Man, when you've been away from the spotlight for a while, that people start talking. They start creating their own version of you, their own version of what they think you've been doing, what they think you've been feeling, what they think you've lost or gained. But here's the thing, most of them don't know a damn thing. They don't know the battles you've been fighting behind closed doors, the nights you spent up thinking about your next move, that the times you had to pull yourself out of a hole that nobody even saw you fall into. They see silence as weakness, but silence is strategy. It's the difference between someone who's chasing attention and someone who's preparing for impact. See, that there's a reason lions don't roar all day. They're not wasting their energy trying to prove they're a lion. They already know. They're conserving that strength for when it matters, for when it's time to move. That's what these past years have been for me. That while the world was running around chasing, every little moment I was sitting still, sharpening my claws. That I was building something you can't see until it's ready to hit you. And I know in this culture, people think if you're not posting every day, if you're not talking every week, you've disappeared. But I don't play that game. I don't need to flood your feed to let you know I'm here. Move in silence because I know when I show up, it's going to be loud enough for you to hear it without me having to say a word. The truth is, stepping back wasn't about hiding. It was about healing, about understanding myself on a deeper level. You don't really get to know who you are when you're always in the noise, always under the lights. You get to know who you are when it's just you in the dark with your thoughts and there's nobody to impress, nobody to entertain. That's when you figure out your real values. That's when you see which voices in your life matter and which ones were just echoes bouncing off the walls. And let me tell you that once you cut out those echoes, once you stop letting every random opinion get into your head, you start moving with a level of clarity that most people will never experience. A lot of people can't take that silence because they're addicted to validation. They need likes, comments, interviews, and applause just to feel like they matter. But if you strip all that away, who are they? If you take away the audience, do they still know how to perform? That's the test I put myself through. Could I still stand tall without the cameras? Could I still wake up hungry without someone watching? Could I still push myself to the limit without applause? And the answer had to be yes. Because if your drive only works when people are clapping, you're not really driven. You're just dependent. Being gone from the spotlight showed me how temporary people's attention is. 1 minute they're praising you, that the next minute they're acting like they never knew you. And honestly, that's one of the most freeing lessons you can learn. Once you understand that, you stop bending yourself just to keep their attention. That you stop performing for the crowd and start moving for yourself. You start chasing purpose instead of applause. You stop caring about being liked and start focusing on being respected. Respect lasts way longer than likes. These 2 years taught me the power of controlling my own narrative. If you give the world too much access, they'll write your story for you. They'll twist it, exaggerate it, and leave out the parts that matter. But when you move in silence, when you step back and only speak when you're ready, you keep the pen in your own hand. You decide when the chapter changes. You decide when the plot twists. You decide when it's time to remind everyone exactly who you are. And trust me, that reminder is coming. Because this break wasn't a break, it was training. It was recovery. It was loading the clip. So that when I step back into that spotlight, every move, every word, every action is hitting with precision. People thought the story was on pause, but the truth is, it was just being written in a place they couldn't see. And when you finally see it, you'll understand why I took my time. So when I say I haven't done an interview in 2 years, understand that it wasn't because I didn't have anything to say. It was because I wanted my next words to matter. And when you hear them, you'll realize they were worth the wait. You know what's funny? People think the moment you go quiet, you stop moving, they think silence means stillness, like if they can't see you working, you must be doing nothing. But that's because they've never learned the difference between moving for the public and moving for yourself. I don't need an audience to validate my grind. I don't need to post every little step to prove I'm building something. In fact, the most dangerous moves are the ones nobody sees coming. And the only way to make those moves is to protect your space, protect your peace, and protect your vision from anything that might water it down. See, when you've been in the game long enough, realize not everybody who's clapping for you is clapping because they want you to win. Some people are clapping just to get close enough to figure out your next step so they can use it against you. That's why my circle got smaller. That's why I stopped giving people full access to my life. Because you can't build anything solid when you're surrounded by people who want to chip away at the foundation. And that's what the past couple of years taught me. How to separate real from fake, loyal from opportunist. Everybody looks solid when the lights are on and the money's flowing. But when you take a step back, when there's no perks for being around you, that's when you see who's really there for you. I had to see that. I had to feel that. And when I did, I realized that some of the loudest voices around me were the ones keeping me from hearing my own. So I cut the noise. I cut the conversations that weren't feeding me. I cut the relationships that weren't aligned with where I'm going. And let me tell you something. Once you do that, once you start protecting your energy like it's gold, your whole life changes. You move differently. You think clearer. You execute faster. Because you're no longer explaining yourself to people who are never going to understand you anyway. A lot of people won't do this because they're afraid of being alone. They think distance means isolation. It doesn't. It means elevation. It means you're creating space for the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy to come in. You can't get to the next level if you're still dragging people who belong to your last one. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's not about who's bad for you. It's about who's just not built for where you're going. Good people can still be the wrong fit for your vision. I had to learn that protecting my focus was just as important as protecting my health. Because if your focus is scattered, your results will be too. The world we live in now is full of distractions, news, social media, opinions, negativity. It's a nonstop stream trying to pull you away from what matters. And if you let it, it will rob you of your time, your energy, and your purpose. That's why I had to lock in, turn off certain channels, stop engaging in conversations that didn't matter. People don't realize this, but the greatest power you have is the power to say no. No to distractions. No to drama. No to people who only show up when they need something. No to opportunities that don't align with your vision. Because every time you say yes to the wrong thing, you're saying no to the right one. Every time you let someone waste your time, that you're stealing from your own future. I've worked too hard, come too far, and survived too much to let my future be stolen by someone who doesn't even value their own. That's why I'm so selective now. That's why my moves are calculated. That's why I'm not in a rush to be everywhere or talk to everyone. My silence isn't a lack of confidence. It's the highest form of confidence. Because I know what I'm building. And I don't need to announce every brick I lay. You'll see the structure when it's done, and by then, it'll be too late for anyone to try to stop it. People love to say, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But I don't believe in that. I don't want my enemies anywhere near me. I don't want them watching, learning, or even breathing the air around my vision. They can watch from a distance, and by the time they realize what I've done, the move will already be over. That's how I operate now, quietly, strategically, and on my own terms. At the end of the day, that protecting your peace is about cutting yourself off from the world. It's about choosing what kind of world you allow around you. It's about knowing your value and refusing to put yourself in spaces where it's not respected. It's about moving in such a way that when you do step into the light, it's because you decided it was time, not because someone pulled you into it. So if you've been wondering why I've been quiet, why I haven't been out here every day trying to grab your attention, it's because my focus is too valuable to waste. My vision is too important to share before it's ready. And when it's ready, you won't have to go looking for it. You'll feel it.